Okay, so let's start now. So basically in the last class, we have discussed about ng for directive there, right? That only we discuss. Yeah. Okay, fine. So in today's class, we'll be understanding here about the components, like how to work with multiple components, how to work with the multiple components. Just give me 2 minutes. We open the Gmail. Just opening because all the points what we discussed, it will be noted down. Sorry. Yeah. So in today's session, we'll be discussing about what more? Multiple components. How to work with multiple components. So that we'll understand in the today's session there. Okay. So basically, if you just look at here as of now, when we're working with the Angular application, I think so for online people audible, ma? Voice, everything is clear. Anyone can apply me.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So probably when you're working with an Angular application, we have just understood that by default, it always create a root component. By default, it always create a root component. Okay, sorry, root module, right? By default, it create a root module whose module name is nothing but app.model.ts. Inside this module, basically, it will create a component. Okay, there is a component whose component name is what? App component. Whose component name is what? App component. Okay, app component here. So probably when you design your application, there, okay. So for example, here, this is a browser, and here inside this browser, it is open a component. ठीक है ना? To open a component. That component is a root component. ठीक है ना? That component is nothing but a root component. Now what you can do here for your application, whenever you design here, you supposed to create the respective components. When you're creating the components for your application, all those components, whatever the components which you are creating, all those components will be acting like a child components. Okay, whatever the components which you are creating, it will be act like what, ma? Child components. And all these child components should be child for whom? App component. Should be child for whom? App component. So that means, for example, you may be creating a component. Let's say assume that what, ma? Login component. You may be creating something called as register component. You may be creating what? Search component. You may be creating so many. Okay, all those components will be what? Child component of root components there. So remember one thing, whenever you create any sort of components, all these components should be child of root components. Okay, now when you design your application, let's say for example, if you just go to the official website of Angular.io, the official website, ठीक है ना? If I just go for, let's say, getting start here. Okay, if you see guys now, okay, so this is your dashboard. Just imagine that this is your dashboard there, right? Inside this dashboard, you can find something called as what? Header part. Next one is what, ma? Footer part. So this header part also will be act like what? One component. This footer part also will be act like one component there. Now this dashboard is also act like one component. Inside this dashboard, whatever you have kept here, for example, you kept something called as what? Routing and navigation. Whenever I click here, it is routing, right? So this is also act like one components here. So all these components are belonging to what? Dashboard. Okay, all these components will be belong to what? Dashboard. So I'll just draw the diagram properly so that you can understand here. So here, this is your page. I'm just creating your page as a home page. What, ma? Home page. So this home page is what? One component. Inside this, I'm going to create. What is this, ma? What is this? Header part. Inside this, I'm going to create one footer part. This is your footer part. Okay. So here, can I say that header part is also act like one component? Yes. Footer part is also act like a component? Yes. Okay. Inside this, we had what? Come on, guys. What we have? Content part. So now you tell me, this header part and the footer part is belonging to which component? Home page. So home page is one component. Inside that we have the child component like what? Header part and footer part. Now this home page is what? Parent component for header and footer. And this home page is a child component for whom? Root component. That is what? App component here. Okay. Inside this header part, you had something called as some more child components. Let me add it here. Home, services, login, register, search here. Okay. All these are what? Child component of what? Header part. Child component of what? Header part. Now, once we click on login page here, once I click on login page here, it will open one Come on, guys. It will open what? Login page where you can enter username. Next, password. One thing is what? Login here. Now user can enter what? Username as well as password here. And click on what more? Come on, guys. Click on what? Login. So when I click on login here, okay, there are two things here. Either it can redirect to another component whose component name is what? What ma? Dashboard. Okay. Or else it can redirect to the error page. So error page also will be act like one component here. Okay, guys, are you understanding now? So once I click on dashboard, inside this dashboard also, you can find the piece of information there. What is this? So logout is also one, what ma? One component here. Okay. And inside this dashboard, you can provide the piece of information. So if you see that when you're working with your an application there, you can define that which can be the parent and which can be the child here. But all these are the child component of what? Root component here. That you need to understand here. So what we'll do here, we'll try to understand that basically how you can work with multiple components, how we can configure and how we can work it. That's it. That we need to understand in today's session there. Fine. Let's do one thing. Let's give the simple thing for you so that you can start working with that. Now this is your app.component.ts. This is your root component. Okay. Inside this root component, I want to define. It is something like this for better understanding. Okay. We have the world map. So how many countries we had? So more than 200 countries. If you take an India is what? One country, right? If you take US, one country. So in India, how many states we have? 29. How many states? 28 plus 1, that is 29 states. Are you understanding? So if you see that India is one country, which is act like one component. Inside that, if I taken the states, all these states will belong to what? Child components. Okay. So just take an example here. This is what? In India. Just give an example here for your understanding. Next, we have one US. Okay. So I'm writing here component 1, and this is what more? Component 2. So this component 1 and component 2 are the child of root component. Inside that, we can have what? Inside that, what we can have? States. Yes or not? So you can define any number of states. Okay. Yeah. So here I'm just taking what? Child component 1, child component 2, and here child component 1, and here child component what ma? 2 here. So if you see the scenario here now, right? We have the root component. Inside that we have the two child components, that is component 1 and the component 2. So I'm just taking as component 1 as one India and component 2 as what? US. Okay. Inside the child component 1, I'm just taking what? State 1 as well as state 2 here. In child component here, what we say? In US, what we say? New York, Canada, what is the state? What we say? State we say. Okay. So I'm just considering state and state 4 here. Okay, na? So if you see that, what we're supposed to do, already we have the root component. Inside the root component, how many components we have to create? 2 components. What is the 2 component? India and US. Okay. In India, we have how many child components? S1 as well as S2. Okay. You can give the names also. Telangana, UP. I'm just taking Telangana and UP, right? So TS is what? One state, that is Telangana, and UP is what? Another state here. Now the thing is, we are creating the components. But the question is, how we can use this child components to the parent components? If you see, we had what? Root component. How I can use this India and US component inside the root component here? How we can use? If you want to use this component, okay, we can use selectors. What ma? What? So this child component, like what India as well as US, these 2 components, we can use selector inside where? Root component here. Is it clear? Similarly, S1 and S2 are the child component of what? Component 1. So what we can do, we can use this selectors inside where? Component 1 here. Okay? So what we can use the selectors there. Fine. So this is my requirement. Initially, what we'll do here, we'll try to generate only India component, and inside this, we'll try to take TS and UP. Okay? Because anyhow, this is what? Root component. This is what? Root component. So can you just help me, guys, how to create the components? What is my requirement now? Let's take a scenario here. Requirement. Create the following components and keep inside the root component here. Okay, na? First one. What is the first one, ma? What? India. Inside this India, I want to keep states. What are the 2 states I've taken? TS and UP here. Okay. Similarly, I want to go for another guy. But as of now, first I want to work with this one. If it is working successfully, then I can add some more components. If it is not working, I cannot go. First, we'll work the portion of the part. Okay. Can you just help me, guys? As I said, how to create the components? No. Okay. So how we create it now? In order to, let's write the point. In order to create the component, we use the following syntax or following command here. ng. G for what? Generator. C for component, followed with what? Component name. That's it. Okay. But make sure that whenever you use this command, you are in the current project. Don't use outside, otherwise you'll get the error. So make sure that it should be inside the project here. Let's go back, ma. Use terminal. Open the terminal now. Yeah. So we are in the current project, guys. Still, if you don't know, like you can't remember all the things, there is something called as what? As I said, readme. What? Readme. Inside the readme already has given what? Command. ng. G for generator. Component. In future class, you will learn directives, pipe, services, everything you can create it here. Okay, na? So as of now, what we want to create, ma? Component. Can you just help me, ma? ng. G for generator. C for component. Okay. So just write name only. If you write name, it will append the component for you. Okay, na? So how many files will be created? 4 files. Okay. How many files? 4 files. Main 4 files. We are not talking about that one. Main 4 files. Okay. First one is what? HTML. Next one is what? TS. Next one is what? CSS. And next one is So how many files? 4 files. Okay, so tell me here. Tell me, guys. When we create the respective component, it means Angular will create the following files and added into the root module. How? See, can you see here? Updated root module. Would you able to see, guys, all of you? Updated, so automatically is doing here. So you are not doing, automatically is doing here. Okay. So tell me, guys, what are the files is added? App dot, sorry, what is the name we have given? India. So India dot component dot ts, India dot component dot html, India dot component dot css, and India dot spec dot ps. This is for testing. Okay, testing file. Clear? And additional to that, what he has done, he has updated the child component. Child component, right? India is a child component or not? Yes or not? Child component into the app dot, very good, model dot ts. Because if you see, this is belonging to what? This is belonging to root module. Belonging to root module here. That module name is what? App dot model dot ts. Yes, remember this one. Okay, na? Clear now? So automatically is updating. Do one thing. Go to this file. Yeah. Can you guys look it now? Already we have the root component. It is also added what? India component, right? So now what we have done, guys, now? We have created the child components whose component name is India, right? And then automatically what he has done, he has created 4 files and he also updated the root module. Up to here is clear? Okay. Now, if I test this application, as of now, okay, can we start the application? Before starting the application, go to the app.component.html. Can I write some message? Some message. From app component, because this is the part of app component here. Okay, na? Let's go and start it. Okay, now it started. Open the browser. Is it working? Okay. Now, if you look it carefully now, as of now, I have already app component is there, and we also created water. We have created water India component. But can we see the content from the India component? No. What I told you that if I want to use the child component, if I want to use in the sense invoke, use in the sense invoke. If I want to invoke the child component inside parent, if I want to invoke the child component inside where? Parent. In this case, we have to use selectors. We have to use what? Selectors. Now, tell me what I have to do. I have to go to child component. What is the child component, ma? Yeah, tell me. Let me go to the child component. Where is the child component? Can you see here separately is created? Yeah. Inside that, we have what? Yes. Some message is there or not there? Okay. Go to the TS file. What is the selector? Come on. What is the selector? App-India. So this selector, we have to use or we have to invoke inside where? Parent. Okay, wait. What's the root file? No. Index.html. Yes or not? We have the index.html and we have an app root. This selector we are using inside where? Okay, look it, ma. Look it. No problem. What's the entry point? You know the entry point, right? Main.ts. Okay. So we have something called as water. Yes or no? Now we have the root component. What's the root component name? Very good. App dot. What is the selector for this one? Selector. Come on, guys. App dot. We have this only. Go and check it. Where is this? Index dot. And yes, app root is there. What is there? Just copy and paste. Okay, fine. This is a component or not? Okay. What we are doing here? We are using this selector inside where? Come on, guys. We are using or not? Inside the body. Tell me. App hyphen. Yes. Are you understanding? Okay. This selector we are using inside where? Index dot. Okay. Now you look it now carefully. I had what? App dot component dot HTML. Okay. We have the child tag or not? What is the child tag we have? Come on, guys. Just now we have created what? India. India dot ts. I'm just writing for understanding purpose. What is the selector we have? Selector. App hyphen. Go and check it. Sorry. App hyphen India. Yes or not? This is a selector or not? So this selector we have to use where? Inside. Come on, guys. Inside app.com.html. Why? To invoke the child component. I hope you're understanding now. Got the clarity? Yes or not? Yeah, that only right, na? Because by default, when you say slash, it always look for index.html or index.htm. That's the default one, right? Yes or no? So that's the reason we are using that selector and keeping inside where? Index.html. Now we have created what? Our component, whose component name is what? India. Now this selector we have to use inside where? App.component. Why? Because it's a child component. It's a child component. Come on, just help me, guys, now. Come on, I don't know. What we have to do? We have to use this selector, app-India. Where? Inside. Inside app.component.html. Tell me. Yes or not? Go and check it. Is it working or not? Earlier is working? No, it's not working earlier. Yes or not? Because we have not added that selector inside the root component. Now we have added. See what I'm saying, that earlier is working. No working, right? Can we see that child component? No, we cannot see. Now can we see here? Why? Sorry. Why? Because we have not added that selector inside the root component. Everyone is understood? Online people? Is it confusion? Vaibhav? Yes. Is it clear? Got the clarity or doesn't get clarity? Okay. Now, fine. So tell me what we have done as of now, guys. Very quickly you have to tell me. I don't know. Tell me what we have done. Open your... Tell me what you have done. We have created a child component, right? Step number 1, we have created child component, whose component is what? India, right? Now, inside this root component, what we are doing here, we are using a selector. Which selector? Child component. Why we are using? So that it can be invoked. It can be invoked here. So in short, if I want to invoke the child component inside the parent, we have to use what? A selector. We have to use select. Now what we'll do here, we'll add some CSS. We'll add some CSS in both root as well as child here. Okay, so that it can be look and feel properly. Okay, so first thing is, let's go to the app.component.ts and just removing all the things. Now you tell me how I can design this one. You have to help me, guys. Come on, guys. You need to help me now. This is my app component. Okay, here. Inside that I have created what, ma? Come on, guys. Child component. So I want to give the width and height. Okay, proper width and height as well as border. Now here we have what? India. So inside this, I would create child components, but before that, I want some border properly so that I can see view properly here. Can you just help me quickly? Tell me. First, go to where? HTML and give proper classes. Okay, na? Use what? Container. Inside this, how much space you want to occupy here? Okay. So I'm just giving here child component 1. Okay. Inside this, I'm keeping what? Okay. So tell me how much space I want to occupy. So take the container and give here width. You can decide how much you can give. Let's give 600 pixel. Height also 700 pixel. Border 1 pixel solid. Black here. Okay, na? Right? And next one, background clear equal to something. Something will give. So that you can go and check now. Perfectly now. Somewhat better. Will increase the width and height also. Done. Okay, na? Right? Next one, we want to give for child components. How we can give, ma? What's the class? Child component 1. Okay, so where we have to give? Here or inside the child component? Okay, how much you want to occupy per here for this division? Give that one first. Okay, give some width, ma. Width give some half 250 pixel. Height also gives something 300 pixel. Border give 1 pixel solid. Red you want to give? Okay. And background color you give it something bingo. Okay, na? And we can use what? Padding. Okay, na? 10 pixel from left, right, top, and bottom. Still. Okay, cool. Now it's working somewhat better so that we can understand here. What we have understood, we had a root component. I'll do one thing, still is not good. Margin from top 30 pixel down. Okay, somewhat better, right? Yes. Now we had what? Root component. Inside that we have what? Child components. Is it okay now? Understood everyone? Got the clarity? Okay. Now, what is the next thing we want? Inside this child component, what we want to create? 2 child components. What are the 2 child components? State 1 and state 2. That is Telangana as well as UP here. Tell me how we can do it here. Where we have to store these components? Inside the India. I don't know. Tell me. Come on. Help me, guys, all of you. Let me take another one. Okay, na? Another terminal. Inside the root. Inside the root you want to keep? Okay. NG. G C component. Okay, TS. That's it. Next NGC UPL. Two components. Okay, so these two components is already added in the module. Can you go and check it here? Yes or not? Are you understanding, ma? Okay. Now, how we can work? This TS and UP should be part of India component. Tell me how we can use. Yes, sorry, TS as well as UP selectors. Where you have to use India components. Okay, tell me. I don't know. Where? Achha, TS. Okay, open the TS. What's the selector? App hyphen. See, always remember that app starting with a followed with component name hyphen component. For example, if you go for UP, app hyphen UP. So always start with what? App hyphen component name. Okay, na? Easy. Tell me. These two components should be part of India. So I have to open the India component.html. Okay. So here you want to divide it. Okay. Tell me how you are going to divide. My container. Inside that, component 1 and component 2. Okay. So tell me. Okay. App.ts. And here, app hyphen UP here. Done? Okay. So this India component we are using inside where? Root component. And root component we are using inside where? Index.html. Got the clarity? Go and check it is working or not working. TS is also working. UP also working. Now what we have to do? We have to, come on guys, we have to divide it. Right? We have to give the space for TS as well as UP. Tell me how we can do it. Inside. Where you have to do space. Come on guys, everyone has to participate. Tell me. Okay, inside the root component. The TS as well as UP is a part of India. So tell me. Yes, exactly. So whatever the modification you're doing, you have to do the modification inside where? India app component.css. Tell me. So what is the class? And here my container. Yes or not? Okay. So how much occupies space you want to do for this one? Tell me. My container. Width. How much you want to occupy? Less than 250. Okay. Next. Height. Okay. Next. Border. 1 pixel. Solid. Okay. Green you want to keep something. Okay. Background color. White. And color. Black. First test it's working or not. Is it working? Yes. Okay. Right. Perfectly is working. Now still it is not good, right? So we have to increase what? We have to increase the size of app component. So where you have to go? Go for where? App component.cs. Tell me. How much we have to increase? We have to increase the child component. Yes. How much? So let's increase up to 450 and also make it a 350. Go and check it here. Somewhat big. Done. Okay. Next, this we have to divide into how much? 2 parts. Tell me. Come on, guys. Tell me. People, are you understanding, all of you? Online people? Online people. Uday Kiran, are you following, ma? What we are doing? Yes, okay, great. Tell me, ma. So inside this container, C1 as well as C2. Okay, for my container, how much width I have given? 200. So how much we have given root component for this one? How much I given? Remember this one at least. Where is that? How much I given? Okay, 450 again, no? Okay, remember this one. So tell me now. C1 and C2. Tell me more. So my container, I'll just increase here. How much we are given? 450, na? 300 or 350 I'll give. Okay, na? Somewhat can be fine. Okay. Now, yes. Or I'll give 400. So we'll get divide 200, 200. That can be okay. Tell me now. Width 180. Okay. Okay. Width, height 150. Okay. Next, border 1 pixel solid black. Okay. Background something. Okay, na? And here copy and paste here. Okay. It's working. Still somewhat we have to reduce it. Or we can use position. Float position. You can use it and you can use the margin for that. Before that, still can we increase the size? Because it's not adjusting. How much we can give? 600 pixel. Okay, 600. And here I will give 7. Oh. Okay. And here, okay. In my, which one? Okay. Display. Can we move somewhat? So what we can do? C2, margin left, 100 pixel. Okay, somewhat. And from the top, we can do it. Cool. And this also left. Okay, na? Somewhat better. Yes or not? And lastly, what we can do? 10 pixel for all the space from top and bottom, left and right. Cool. Done now. So tell me here, what is the root component? App component. Inside that child component, gearbox. Inside that we have TS as well as UP. Are the child of? Are you understanding? So this is how what you can do. You can create the multiple components. You can get what? See, as of now, we're just understanding how to create the components and how we can adjust them with the help of selectors. But generally, when you're working with the routing, okay, what we'll do, we configure. What we do? We configure. What we configure? What can be the child and what can be the parent? And inside the parent, what are the different child components can be added here? So that all the things we'll see in the routing part here. That's it. Miss selectors. Nothing else. Because we are using now. By default, it always open root component. It's not recognizing child components. That is for entire web application which you want to make globally for everyone by default. For example, in your application, globally, you want to follow the same font size and the same font family. Add it there. And you want to maintain the global padding space. Add that one. Okay? That is used for entire all the components. That is style.css there. Online people, is it clear? Come on, tell me, recall what you have done very quickly. Come on, guys, what you have done, recall very quickly. You have to recall. First thing is what you have done. We have created India component. Okay, and we have used this. We have used the selector inside where? Inside the app component.html. Yes or not? This is we have used it or not? This is your use. Okay, now this is a step one. Inside this component, what you have done? We have created the child components. What are the child components we have created? TS as well as UP. So these two components are the child components of India. These two components are the child components of India. See, sometime what happens like sometime. Okay, India is in a. Oh, shit! India gone. That's the problem, yeah. C is also removed. Okay. I will not create CSS now. Okay, now already we have created. Okay. See, the problem is what I'm saying that when you're creating the components, I'll show you. Okay. So you need to go to the particular folder. Generally, what we'll do in the real-time scenarios, we'll create what we do? We create a folder. Are you understanding? We create a folder here. Where is that folder gone? Yeah, here is there. Yeah. Can you find the components? Guys, can you see the components? So whatever the components which you want to create, keep all these components inside this folder. Suppose you are getting modules. Keep all the modules inside the. So generally when you working with the applications, we try to create a proper structure. Whatever the components, all those components we keep inside where? Component folders. If you're creating directives, if you're getting guards, in future you'll learn that one. If you're creating all the images, you keep in assets folders. So the structure should be very clear. The structure should be, by looking that you need to understand where the components are available. Okay, where the components, where the classes are available, where the interfaces are available, where the enums are available, where the guards are available. Okay, na? Are you understanding? So all the things we should create a structure there. Okay. So as of now, I'm showing directly all the components are keeping inside the app. But in general, when you design your projects, make sure that create the folder structure properly there. So as of now, delete this. Yeah. So quickly tell me what are the components we have created. India. Next, inside this TS. And next one, UP. Okay. And inside this India, what we have done? Guys, what we've done? We inside this HTML, we have used so here we use app ts and inside this hyphen up. That's it. with this file. Okay, something is problem. Okay, just wait. Close, open once again. npm. Acha. Maybe in the app.model is not available. Let's see what's the problem. Let's update it now. Yeah. Oh, it's working now. I got happy. Ultimately, all the CSS came. Yes, working now. Yes, you can add the CSS according to that. You can make some merges and you can add all the things. So like this, what we can do, we can keep on adding all the child components there, right? So this is clear. Okay, story is not completed. Story is not completed now. Okay, see, as of now, you creating the multiple components. Okay, so for example, clear this one. This is your root component. And inside this component, I'm going to create a child component here. Okay. And inside this, I want to create another component. Okay. This is what app.component.ts. So I'm creating here child1 component, and this is what a subchild. Okay, now I'm just making here what a subchild. Okay. Now we are creating multiple components. We are getting multiple components. When you're creating multiple components, you want to share the data. What ma? What do you want? You want to share the data among the components. Are you understanding now? We are getting the multiple components. But what will happen like when you're developing the application? Parent component want to share the data with the child and vice versa. So the question is how we can exchange the data between the components. How we can exchange the data between the components. So that also we need to understand here. Okay, clear guys now? So we are creating the multiple components. Okay, we know how to create the multiple components, how we can add it with the help of selectors. But next thing is what you have to understand, how we can share the data between the components there. Okay, is it clear for everyone? Understood now? Okay, now what I want from your side is, I want you to create a root component. Okay, a root component whose component name is, let's say, what a employee. Inside that, I want to create a child component not a TS. So here, let's say, for example, we have the data, let's say 100, something here. Okay, this data I want to share to the child component. So now child component has to receive the data which is coming from parent and display inside the child component here. Can you guys understood now? Are you understanding or not understand? What is my requirement? We had some data. Yeah, we have some data. We are not bothering what data we have. Okay, we can use any sort of properties, depends on your application. First, we need to understand how we can share the data between the components there, right? So in order to share the data, so first thing is we need to understand how we can share it. No, it's not possible. Because both are different components. Both are different components. How we can receive the data from the child? So we can use a decorator called as, what is this? Huh? What is the decorator we use? At the rate input. What? At the rate input. Which is used to receive. Receive the data from where? Huh? From the parent. From the parent. So tell me guys, I have given the hint for you. How we can do it now? Tell me. Input you have to use. No. Think. Okay, very good. So can I delete this one? All the things you understood? And always after deleting go to the app dot. Please remove this also. Okay, na? Because it is automatically registering with the app.modules. Otherwise, you'll get the errors. Now there is no error. Oh, still is error. Okay, because we are using inside this one. Okay, na? Nothing is there. Right. So tell me guys, what is my requirement? I want to share the data between. Okay, already we have the root component. Can we create one child component? Okay, tell me, I don't know. Go to where? Terminal. Come on guys. NG, G for janitor, C for okay, child. I'm just writing child so that he will append it. Okay. So finally, create a child component and also update in the register module also. So you no need to do it anything. Okay, great. How to work app child? Okay, what is our requirement? We want to extend the data. So let's go to the TS file. We have some data. Some data is there. Okay, 100. Some data is there. This data we want to share inside where? Child component. So go to the child component. Go to the HTML. If I say whether it's going to work, so what is saying that? So X property does not exist in what? Child component. Whether is there X property inside the child component? Go and check it. Is it available? Come on guys, available or not? Okay. If it is available, because his initialization is not done, it's going to work. Are you understanding? But as of now, what is our requirement? Yeah, we want to get from parent. How we can get it? Okay, very good. At the rate input X. Okay, of type number. So this input is from where? Which library? From the core library. Okay, still is getting error. Property X has no and is not definitely assigned in the constructor. Okay, he was expecting something from you like this, something he expecting. Okay, where is the value? So parent and child, right? As I said here, if you want to extend the data between the parent and child, we have to use a decorator called as input. And here, if you want to inject here data, I'm using X here. Still is not recognizing. Can you see that it's rotating? This one. Go and check it here, inspect it. Any error now? Okay. What is this? X has been invoking inside where? X here. So that means this X value should be come from where? Parent. But how? By using property binding. Come on, tell me. Come on, guys. Everyone has done. By using what? Property. Come on, property binding. There. How we can use property binding? Use a tag. Some tag. Okay. Inside this, child property name. Let's write different property name. Okay. I'll be using something called as Y. Some different thing. Okay. Yeah. What is this, ma? What? Y. Equal to. What? Come on. Equal to X. Okay. So what is happening now here? Is getting error? Come on. What is saying that? H1 is not recognized. So if you see that root component, he's saying that Imtiaz, I'm not understanding what is Y. Okay, what is saying that? Y is what he's not understanding. See, look the error. Can't bind to Y since it is not known property of H1. Okay, let's go back. Go to the child component. You know how to use property binding? Come on, guys. You know how to use? Tell me how to use property binding. Everyone has to tell me. Where you are using CSS. Sorry. Tell me how to use it. Come on, everyone has to tell me. Something. Yes or not? Something we use it, right? So this is how we use it. So now if you see that generally, if you want to invoke the child property inside the parent, the first foremost is, save this one, go to the child.ts. What is the selector we have? Copy this. How we can use in the parent? As a tag here. Can you just help me? Come on, guys. Yes or no? Okay, inside that, I want to use a property binding. Y equal to, come on, X still is not getting. Let's see what's the problem. Still is not recognizing. Okay, let's wait. Still is not taking. What's the problem? Since it's known property actually. Okay, why? Go to the child component. What is the child component, ma? Yes. Y. Y. Inside in Angular, it has Y input, then verified is a part of this module. Yes, is a part of module. Can't bind to Y since it is non-property of AppChild. If AppChild is Angular component, it has Y input, then verify that part of this module. Is web component, then add the custom elements app.ngb. Not required. Okay, let's see what's the problem. Okay, let's go back to the child component.html and let me use Y. Let's see. Yeah, it's getting, or default is getting. Yeah, let's go and check it here. The child component.ts 0, and here ts. $100 we have here. X we have here, no? Correct only. Why is not taking? Something is issue. No, yeah, it has to take. Let's see what's the problem. Something is issue with this one. X. Go to the correct only. X is the input and Y is a child component. Let's see what is the problem. Angular dot IO input. At the rate input. Go to the introduction. Tutorials. Reference. Just wait. Let's see what is the problem here. Why is not taking? At the rate input. Font ID. Okay, correct only, no? Same thing we are using. Yes or no? Same thing we are using here. Bank name we are using here. Same thing we are injecting this one. Transferring the value. Yes. Let's see what is the problem. Why is not recognizing? Anything issue? X is a number. We are injecting and passing to this one. That only I'm doing here. It has to work. Something is issue. Yeah, it's getting name is wrong. The name what we are given. This is Angular 10 somewhat syntax I was using here. If you see, the problem is, I'll tell you. We'll start from beginning. See, what is the root component, guys? App component. Inside that, what is the property name? X. What's the property name? X here. Okay. Now, this X is a property of parent, which is having the value how much? 100. Step 1. Now, this X value, we have to use inside where? Inside where? Inside where? Child component. Inside where? So whether is going to recognize, can you see here? Whether is recognizing? No. What is saying that X does not exist in the child component. Why? Because that X value is belonging to parent here. Now the question is how we can exchange the data between these two components. If you want to exchange the data between the parent and child, we have to use property binding. What do you have to use? Okay, where you have to use property binding? Inside the selector. What? Where you have to use? Yes or not? You have to use inside the selector. So go to the app.component.ts. Now tell me. We'll demo this one. Okay, what's the selector here now? Child. So I'll draw diagram and I will show you. This is our root component. Yes. And inside that we have X value. This is my child component. Okay. So child component can be recognized X. No here. So how it can be recognized? How we can recognize? Come on, guys. If you use the selector, what is the selector here now? App hyphen child here. Okay. So what we are doing here, we are passing the data with the help of property binding. Come on, guys. With the help of property binding. Now this X is what? No, this X is what? Property binding. And this X is a property of Y. That X is a property of not app component, child component, equal to this X is a property of app component. Okay. In order to remove confusion, let's say Y. Okay. So here what we have, app hyphen child. Okay, how we can use it, guys? Now property binding. What is this? Y equal to X. Now tell me. Come on, guys. Tell me. This Y is what?
Child.
Property of child component. And this X is what?
Parent.
Are you understanding? So X equal to Y equal to how much? 100. That only we are doing here. Is it clear? Understood or not? Okay. So what we are doing here is, if you want to pass the data from root component to the child component, I was using the property binding. Inside the property binding, I am specifying a property of what? A child component equal to X. X is what? A property of X, which is holding a value, Are you understanding? Okay. Now, once we pass this information, we are passing this information. Once we pass information, this Y value has to be stored in some variable or not? Yes or not? And it has to be read. So for that, I'm using a input decorator. What I'm using? Okay. Column. What is this? What do you have to pass now? X or Y? The name of this property, whatever the pass we are passing here. So we are passing Y. Come on. Store in a variable. Are you understanding? Okay. You want to see? Go and check it here. Okay. Tell me. Come on. Okay. Let's say Y equal to X here. So what we have to do now? Go to the child component.ts. Here you can give anything. Let's give Y1. Let's give Y1 here. Okay. Still is not recognizing. What is the problem? Here Y1. Okay. Y only have given now. It has to take. Why is not taking? Okay, just wait. Sometime you'll get wrong. Why? Child. Okay. Now go and check it. Is it working? Same thing? Yes or not? Tell me, guys. Same thing you're doing here now? Come on, tell me. What exactly you're doing here now? Y is what? Y is what? Child component property. And what is the X? Parent component property. How we can pass the data? With the help of property binding. Inside the property binding, we are passing the property name. This is mapping or not? Come on, this is mapping or not? Yes. What is doing here? Once he receive the data, that data is storing inside where? Okay, now. So tell me once again. Tell me once again. App hyphen child. Yeah, tell me. So Y is what? Child property equal to X is what? Okay. So now how we can receive this data?
So,
Y. And storing in where? Y1. So tell me what happens now. Come on. So now this X value will be stored in where? Y. And this Y value will be inject inside where? And this value will be stored inside where? Y1. Is it clear? Understood, all of you? Take this snapshot, otherwise you'll understand here. All of you take the snapshot now. Okay, story is not completed. Story is not completed. Wait, hold on. Now what I'm doing here is, look at me, all of you. Go to the child component. Are we getting the error? Where is getting the error? App.component.html. Inside where? Root component. Why? Because Y is not property inside. Come on, inside input here. Okay. What is we have written here? Now what I'm doing here, I'm giving water. So tell me here, what we have done now. Come on, next step. Everyone has to participate and tell me, guys. This is your parent and this is your child. Inside we have something value called as 100. Okay, here what we have? Just we have Y1. Now what we are doing here? App hyphen child. What is the property now? Y1 equal to X. So this time are we specifying the name in the single quote for the input operator? No. Can I say it's optional or mandatory? So it is optional if you are getting the confusion between the names. Understood or not? Yes or not? So directly what is doing here now? It is taking X value, that is 100, storing inside where, and injecting directly in the Y value. Hold on. This is the second case. Third case. What I'm doing here is, third case. This time, what is the name I have given? Okay. Are we getting the error? Go to the root component. What is the name? Tell me what we have done. Third case. Come on, third case, what you have done? Everyone has to tell me. X property parent, how much, ma? What we have taken? Y equal to X. Here what we have done? We are using input of Y. Okay. Y. So I'm not giving anything syntaxes, just to understand. Okay. And syntax is not, don't worry. Tell me, X value will be stored in where? Y. X value will be stored in where? So Y how much? So this property name and this name should be same. Sorry, this is Y1. This name same or different? So what you will do? It will take and it will map or not. This name will be same. If both are equal, then it will inject the value inside the Y1 and we can use in the template here. Understood? Wait. Now, what if that, if we have both names same? I'll change here. Any challenge? Is it working or not working? Okay, so when to use that input under that single quote name? If the parent component property name and child both are not same, different, then use what? Name. Otherwise not required. Otherwise not required. Are you understanding? See, look it. All of you look it. Is it required? Not required. When we required? If they are different. Understood? If they are Different. Which is different?
Parent.
Child class property name, and if they are different, then is required. Otherwise, not required here. Okay, I'll repeat once again. See, once again. Tell me, how we can extend the data between the components? If you want to extend the data between the components, we have to use property binding. Okay, and this property binding, we need to specify inside a selector of child component. Inside the selector of child. Why? Because parent will not recognize child component. Why? Parent component will not recognize child component. So that's the reason. We are specifying the property binding inside where? Selector tag. Are you understanding, ma? Is it clear or confusion? Is it clear or not clear? Can I repeat once again? See, what I'm saying that very easy. Nothing is there. I'll remove the child component. Sorry. Remove this one. Remove this one. Remove this one. Come on, guys. What is the parent component? App.component. Okay. What is this? X. X is what? Property of? Okay.
Parent.
What is my requirement? This data I want to pass to child component. So if I use in the child component X, whether is recognizing, it is not recognizing. Now the question is how I can get the value from parent to child. Generally, if I want to invoke a child component into the parent, we can invoke through a selector. Which is selector we have to use? Which selector we have to use? App-child. So go and add it here now. Add it here. Okay. Okay. So we have added. Go and check it now. Still is getting error because X is not recognized. In where? Child. Okay. Though we have added the selector, still is recognizing. No. What we need to do? We need to bind the data or not? Which data? Parent data we have to bind in the child. So how we can bind the data? Event binding, interpolation, property binding, or two-ways binding. So here I'm using what? Property binding. Okay. So where is the value? X is a value. So we need to pass to whom? Child component. Yes or not? But still is getting the error or not? Because this X is not belonging to child here. So what we do? Can we add it here? Yes or not? I'm giving some 0. Okay. Still is getting error. Why? Because it is not receiving. How we can receive the data? We can use the decorator call as @input, and where it is available inside the core tag. Now problem is solved or not? Go back. Now it is recognizing or not? Are you understanding? Got the clarity or doesn't get clarity? Come on, guys. Is it clear or not clear? Or I have to repeat once again? Yes. So in short, you understand only one thing. If I want to pass the data from parent to child, okay, we can pass through property binding. So when you're passing here, child component has to receive the data with the help of a decorator called as @input. That's it. The names can be anything. Here. So let's write the point here. Can you just help me to write the point, ma? So how we can pass the data from the parent component to the child component? Yes, guys. We can pass by using a property binding, and child component can receive the data by using @input decorator. Okay, guys? Yes. So how to work now? Let's work with the data binding between the two components. Yeah, step 1, create the parent component, that is app dot component dot yes. Yeah. Step 2, create the child component, that is child dot component dot yes. Sorry, child. Okay. Next, step 3. Inside the app dot component dot HTML, okay, use the child component selector. Okay, na? How we can use ma? Go to the okay, na, guys, and finally display the value of x which is received from the parent component. Go to the child dot component dot. Okay, na? Is it clear? That only we done now, right? Still, I will write the point here. In order to create the child component, use the following command. Yeah, that's it. All the steps are clear, or I have to repeat once again? Yes. Okay. So this is the thing I have to discuss in the today's session. I hope everyone got clarity now. Okay. Now coming back, assignment. Coming back, assignment. I've given some tasks. 4 tasks I've given. Among the 2 tasks, I asked to finish it. Come on, guys. Please update me task. Whoever has been completed.